Ladies and gentlemen, not long now until the Radical Cup North America.
Is it on?
Should be. Up.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah. Is it down or up?
Up.
Yeah. That should have been up.
Check, 1, 2.
Not hearing on the house. Oh, Dave's calling you.
Okay. Can you do a test real quick, Tom?
The Radical Cup North America is just rolling out onto pit lane.
Did you copy that? Yeah, we can't hear it out here. We are about to get going with the Radical Cup North America. They should be rolling out on pit lane right now. Did you get any of that? Okay, I just unplugged that old mic. Yeah, I just plugged into where you told me to unplug the other mic. Plug that same mic.
See that anything coming out?
Okay. Check 1, 2, check 1, 2. No, it's the exact ones he told us to go to. Our day there.
I just think the problem is that box is not going out, it's not feeding out. Because we've got, well, hey Mike. Oh, we heard in the broadcast.
What's that?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are joining us from around the world on the live stream, we're just having a few technical difficulties up here in the broadcast booth, but we're hoping to bring you this this race. So hopefully we'll be broadcasting out to the crowd as well. But right now we're riding on board with the Crown Concepts driver of Chris McMurray. And as the drivers come around to finish off their second pace lap, we expect the green this time by. So we'll take you through this starting grid. And from the back row, it'll be Chris Hunn, who has some work to do. Dermot Ennis alongside him. But the big news will be that Raider Nichols starts this one on the pole. Alongside him, the pole man in the Platinum class, Louis Schreiber in the 111 machine. And look for the 93 to be absolutely swamped the next time we come around. So we will take you through that grid properly. In just a moment. But the cars making a way around their second formation lap. So from the back, from row 13, it will be Chris Hunn, who starts right at the back in the 26th position. Alongside him, Dermot Ennis in the 88. Dale Dillon will start from row 12. Alongside him, Mike Darden. Cameron Racing's Jeff Ramsey, another Platinum Class car, well back in the order, will start alongside Brady Clapham. And look for Brady Clapham in the 77 to come through the field. He is one of the stars of Pro 1340 and leading that championship in terms of the points at the moment. Andy Lowe, an Englishman, joining us in the Radical Cup North America this year, will start from 20th on the grid. Alongside him, Luke Kendall, a rookie from Georgia from Primal Racing. Arul Venkatesh will start from 18th on the grid. Next to teammate Sam McDougall, a rookie this weekend. Chris McMurray was fastest, and we're riding along board with him. Chris McMurray will start from the 8th row, first in Pro 1340. Mike Ansaldi will start alongside him. Should be a good battle between Jack Yang on the next row, row 7, and Mike Ansaldi for Gold Class Honours. Dennis Kelly will start alongside Jack Yang. From the 6th row of the grid, 12th position, Ryan Persing. 11th on the grid, Valen Venkatesh, another pair of Cameron Racing drivers from California. Spencer Schmidt had a good run already and will start from the 5th row of the grid alongside Austin Riley. Then it's Wayne Williams, Matt Romer, Chip Romer, Steve Jenks, John Field, Scott Wagner, Louis Schreiber, and as we mentioned, Raider Nicole, who was fastest yesterday. Impressive performance from the young gun in the Pro 1500 class. I don't think we've ever had a Pro 1500 start from the overall pole, and he's bringing down the pack extremely slowly. Doesn't want to get outrun by these Platinum Class cars as the green flag flies now, and I fear there's going to be a little bit of chaos behind because that was a very, very slow start indeed, and there's a slow car on the front straightaway, but meanwhile down into turn 2, they are 3 wide further back in the pack. Someone's had a spin, and that's collected a couple of cars. 2 cars stationary on the racetrack, a couple of others finding the dirt as we navigate the first lap here.
And we've already got a full course yellow. We had a car stall at the start that obviously got going again. It was a white car, couldn't make out the digits, but this is the closest I have seen the starter allow the starting field to get to the stand. They've been waving the flag as they come out of turn 11, as they're entering turn 11. They were about 100 yards away from the flag stem when he finally dropped the green.
Nicole did mention to the race director that he was going to do that. He was hoping not to get swamped by those faster SR10 machines. We saw that great battle in yesterday afternoon's race with Raider Nicole really mixing it up with John Field, and in the end, a fantastic pass by Nicole in the penultimate corner. John Field trying to make amends for that in the final corner, couldn't do it, spun around and was relegated further back in the order. In this race, John Field has elected to take the points penalty for starting on a fresh set of hand-cooked rubber, and we expect to see the 37 rocket up through the field. And speaking of rocketing up, John Field down the front straightaway and eclipses Raider Nicole. Chip Romer sits 3rd on the racetrack at the moment. At the pointy end, it is Louis Schreiber who's fending off Scott Wagner. That was a battle that we saw play out in yesterday's race. And Louis Schreiber was very, very strong in yesterday's race. Had to let the win come to him. But Scott Wagner right now has found himself in the lead. Riding on board now with Chris McMurray. And Chris further back in the pack. McMurray right down in 12th position right now. He's the first of the Pro 1340 cars, and with a pack of Pro 1500s and Platinum Class cars ahead. Plenty of work for Chris McMurray to do, as side by side again we see, I think that is definitely John Field in the thick of things there. So the lead car, Scott Wagner, the number 8 JBR racing machine. Louis Schreiber second, 2 JBR cars line astern at the front of the field. Raider Nicol is already in fourth position. Obviously been relegated down from the outright pole at the start of this race, but we expected him to fall back through the Platinum Class cars, and it's impressive that he's remained right up the front in fourth place.
Yeah, Wagner getting very aggressive from the beginning, throwing a fast lap on that one, dropping his lap time to a 1:25.7 compared to second place JBR car, Schreiber with a 1:27.7.
So Chris McMurray again finds himself in the lead of Pro 1340. It's been the young gun, Brady Clapham, who's effectively had this class to himself this year. He's had a couple of skirmishes, if you will, with a couple of drivers that have come in and out of the championship. But Brady Clapham, the points leader in Pro 1340, and now has some work to do with the fast Chris McMurray, who, of course, was fighting with Suelio Almeida for the championship last year, right down to the wire. That battle came, and in the end, Chris McMurray had to settle for second in Pro 1340. On the grid, spoke to Wayne Williams quickly. He sits down in seventh position, and Wayne Williams, who leads the points in the Platinum class, with some work to do. Still hasn't won a race this year. Remarkable that he leads the points, but all around him, drivers have certainly taken points away, but they haven't been able to take the lead in that championship just yet. However, with Scott Wagner up the front, that will put the number 8 driver with 40 points in the bag if he can remain in front of a fierce John Field.
Second quickest. He's down by about half a second behind Wagner with a 1:25.252, and he's got a head of steam going, already getting a fast first sector on this with a 30.48 in that first sector. He is making ground, and he could be closing that gap pretty quickly on Wagner in first position with the Platinum class.
Very, very impressive stuff from Raider Nicol this weekend and this season, but also from Spencer Schmidt. Sits second in Pro 1500 at the moment, and it looks like Austin Riley could be on for another podium. He's third in class with Valen Venkatesh, Ryan Persing, 2 Californian drivers from Cameron Racing, Radical Northwest, trying to take that final step of the podium away. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, we're watching Scott Wagner fend off John Field, the American Le Mans Series champion, the twice Radical Cup Platinum Class champion. Plenty of experience under the visor of the red car, sitting second on the racetrack. Scott Wagner will be certainly feeling the pressure, and John Field has now gone quickest of the pair, a 1:25.2 last time round. So the time's starting to tumble as these drivers work their way into a rhythm. The Hankook tyres heating up in the sunshine here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. And we should expect to see the times continue to tumble. A couple of these drivers on new rubber. One of them was Steve Jenks, and that hasn't really worked out for Steve so far. He sits back in 18th position, the 68 machine, with all sorts of gremlins this weekend. And John Field having a look in the corner that Raider Nicol got past him yesterday. John Field sizes up. Scott Wagner in front as they head down the straightaway to start another lap here. John Field, not usually a man with too much patience. In fact, if you give him an inch, he'll take a mile. And John Field rounds turn 2. You can see him close in. That concertina effect, one thing, but John Field looks very, very comfortable and confident around the high-speed corners here at Laguna Seca. Louis Schreiber has absolutely fallen by the wayside compared to this battle out front, and surprisingly, Raider Nicol has fallen back behind Spencer Schmidt. So what has happened to Raider Nicol? Could we see a new winner in Pro 1500 this race? That would be the first time this year.
Schmidt is got a good lap lap going, and Raven Nichols was kind of lackluster. I haven't seen him move up. He was holding 5th position for a while, dropped down 1 position. Not really setting the world on fire right now. We're going to see what happens. Maybe he's just waiting for the track to come to him a little bit. It is cooling down somewhat in the afternoon. We'll see what happens.
I just saw a bit of contact there, Chris McMurray. So that was Chris Hunn carving his way past Chris McMurray, the leader of Pro 1340. And Chris Hunn said he was going to charge up through the field. He's hoping for the Sunoco Hard Charger Award. And he's found himself already in 13th position overall, and that puts him 8th in class. So Chris Hunn, a gold class runner, is hoping to take those honours away from Jack Yang. That's the next car that Chris Hunn will be coming up on the gearbox of. Jack Yang, the 21 machine, the Chinese driver, running from a English team, Valor Racing, also races in the Middle East. And great to see such an international affair, the Radical Cup. Of course, speaking of international, Radical will be holding the World Finals later on this year at VIR Raceway. And we expect to see a number of drivers from around the world, already interest from Australia. Certainly we expect drivers from that Middle East competition as well. But right now, all eyes are on WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. We've had some fantastic racing today. The Indy cars putting on a show. Indy next with a wild, wild race just before this one. And it's been a long wait for the Radical Cup drivers today. But I think we've saved the best for last. Unbelievable, John Field has been spun out of this race. So John Field is he beached? Something has happened to the 37 machine. Scott Wagner comes past the post.
Like he's coming from turn 10 and it just got loose on him. He is buried in the kitty litter now. Ground effects cars get stranded in a blink of an eye. That caught me by surprise. But this afternoon has been an afternoon of surprises considering we've got a full course yellow right now.
So John Field, who we could have expected to lead this race and indeed take another win here at Laguna Seca, is in the gravel trap, stranded. Scott Wagner, a reprieve for him. Wagner maintains his first place in the Platinum class. Louis Schreiber has been elevated to second. Chip Romer third. Raider Nicole is back in the lead of Pro 1500, so trying to keep that winning streak going. Heading into this one, it was 11 wins from 11 starts for young Raider Nicole. Of course, he took the outright win as well. And meanwhile, Chris McMurray, could he make it? 3 for 3.
Schmidt bringing up the 5th position in the top 5, second in the 1500s. Followed by Venkatesh, a rookie driver, the 15 car in 7th position overall, but 3rd in the 1500s.
Yeah, Venkatesh has done a good job to get 3rd in Pro 1500. That has bumped Austin Riley off the podium. And it definitely would appear that... Well, John Field's been told to get back in that car. So obviously the emergency crews will have to extract the car out of the gravel. We saw a bit of commotion in the Indy Next race where the extraction crews were getting stuck in the gravel trap as well. Luckily that hasn't happened here. But the gravel trap's doing their job. And certainly if you're coming off at high speed, but you can see it's almost blind down that corner, and some of the drivers possibly still a little bit unaware that John Field and the safety crews are working in that sector of the racetrack. Race control would have been on the radio to the teams. The teams should be relaying that to the drivers.
The crew is very carefully making sure they've taken off the tow rope this time. They were cleaning off any potential gravel off of that car. They've lost patience, I think, with everybody. As you see them telling the driver, get back in your car.
So Steve Jenks was just behind Chris McMurray. Chris McMurray just behind Chris Hunn. And Chris Hunt in the 53 machine. Another driver out of the Primal Racing stable, trying to find success as well. And Raiden Nicol would be hoping to see Chris Hun joining him on the podium. Chris Hun vying for gold class honours. So far this weekend, that honour has gone to Jack Yang. So Brady Clapham with some out-of-class cars if he wants to catch Chris McMurray. Mike Darden finds himself third in Pro 1340. And so far we've seen Dermot Ennis on that third step of the podium. So perhaps a new name will grace the winner's circle here at Laguna Seca. So a bit of a wild start. A big winner, Scott Wagner, in that commotion. We wondered what would happen with Raiden Nicol starting from the pole. Again, earned that from yesterday's fantastic performance. The fastest driver on track, winning out over the Platinum class cars. 430 brake horsepower. About half of that in the SR3 1500s. And just over 200 horsepower from the 1340 SR3s. But the Platinum class cars, featuring a bit more weight, don't corner quite as quick, or certainly not when they're being steered well. That is the Pro 1500s. That SR3 chassis is an absolute stunning little car, very, very well balanced. And Raiden Nicol putting it to full effect yesterday, taking the outright win. I'm not sure what else you can do if you're a young gun trying to impress the IndyCar team owners.
God, that was an exciting finish because you're wondering if he was going to lay back a little bit, just take his class win, and all of a sudden you just saw the cameras focus on turn 11 and you went, uh-oh, here we go, he's going to do it. He had a head of steam going, and at that point was, why not?
Yeah, really, really impressive stuff. I think... Well, I wondered whether the 99 of Spencer Schmidt might have a crack at the top step of the podium today. He still sits second in class, fifth on the racetrack, and that's going to be a big battle to look for. The 93, Raiden Nicol, the 99 of Spencer Schmidt. Wouldn't be surprised on this restart to find the 57 of Wayne Williams carving his way through those top Pro 1500 cars either. And so we could see a four-way fight for the lead in the Platinum class. Wayne Williams leading the points, as we mentioned. Valen Venkatesh, a rookie this year. We mentioned yesterday he's had the bragging rights over older brother Arul, who's certainly got more experience in the championship. But Valen Venkatesh trying to put on a show for his hometown fans, and the pace car is back in. Whoa. The green flag flies, and we've had a spin right at the start of the restart, and a car in the middle of the racetrack. So that's Chip Romer, who's tumbled down the order. He'll have to wait for the entire field to go past, and Chip Romer has been relegated to 23rd position. Disaster for the number 5. The One Motorsports entry, Chip Romer, a former SCCA runoffs champion, finding no luck in race 3. And I've just been reminded that we're going to have a pit stop in this one. Of course, the mandatory pit stop. Right. So 15 minutes into this race. In fact, we expect that pit window to start very, very soon. And
unfortunately, we saw somebody go wide. The pit is open. We have just been informed by the start-finish line. The pit is open right now. That window is going to be there for about 10 minutes.
10 minutes. All drivers must stop. It's a mandatory stop. They're going to be trying to hit their marks. It's 30 seconds from the pit in sign to the pit out sign. The controlled speed area of the pit lane. So expect the cars to be stationary for around about 10 seconds. Such is the delta between the two boards at a 40 mile an hour speed limit. So the order of this one's going to be a little bit jumbled for the next few minutes as a number of drivers make their way in. Ryan Persing immediately diving in. Steve Jenks as well. Jack Yang. Chris Hunn follows in, his gold class rival. Sam McDougall also pits, as does Arul Venkatesh. So drivers hoping that they won't have to have another safety car period.
Well, that start was a little bit chaotic. They were going 3 abreast. One got into the dirt, immediately got sideways and went across the track. I'm surprised more people were not collected during that. But, I know the drivers will behave themselves because I don't think anybody could screw up as badly as one of the racers from Moto America 2 weeks ago that got clocked going through the pit area at 96 miles an hour. No, I didn't stutter. It was 96 miles an hour. And he also promoted a race the following week, so we as veteran racers were able to give him absolute grief when he was telling us to be slow in the pit area.
Yeah, well, that shouldn't happen in the Radical Cup. There are pit lane speed limiters in these cars. 40 miles an hour should be what they're set to. And that would be disastrous, but it's still plenty of opportunity to make a mistake with the pit stop. You've got to hit your marks. You can't stall the car. You've got to have a clean in-lap and out-lap. And certainly here at Laguna Seca, with that long run, the pit exit heading right down into turn 2 and around that carousel on the inside of the racetrack, it means that there's plenty of opportunities to make mistakes. Wayne Williams, we can just see extracting himself from the pit box. The 57 is back out, certainly on pit lane. And Chris McMurray now finds himself in 6th position because of all of those pit stops. Chris McMurray leading Pro 1340. Brady Clapham just behind him. So Brady Clapham in the 77 has done the hard yards. Dermot Ennis now finds himself 3rd in Pro 1340. And Scott Wagner yet to pit. So who will get the undercut? Who will manage to stay out in the clean air and reel off the lap times? Scott Wagner's shown plenty of pace early on. He certainly fended off the American Le Mans Series champ, John Field. Louis Schreiber now trundles down pit lane and finds his way into the JBR Racing pit box. So Raiden Nicole remains out. Matt Romer, Spencer Schmidt, the top 3 in Pro 1500 yet to stop. Some teams possibly hoping that another full course caution will come out. Of course, the drivers able to pit under full course yellow. But the pit window doesn't last that long. And the 4 of Andy Lowe just getting held up on the pit exit. Yeah, Raiden Nicole now finds himself in 2nd place. It was what he was in yesterday's race for so long as he hunted down John Field. John Field still with the fastest lap in this race as he tries to carve his way back up through. 1 lap down though, so unfortunately for Field, with effectively a 40-minute sprint race, albeit slightly disjointed by a pit stop, that really puts Field out of the running in this one. And in comes Scott Wagner, so the leader from the Platinum class, into the pit lane. It will feel like eternity, even though it's just a few seconds that the cars need to remain stationary. It's a horrible feeling as you can hear those cars streak down the front straight, pulling gears, maximum speed, and you just have to patiently wait. John Field comes in. So, Raiden Nicole, now he'll just have to watch that he's not too late on the pit window cars aren't able to pit after the window ends. So if you're on the front straightaway, you can look out for that notification from race control and from the start-finish stand. But we do have a full course caution. So with that, I'd fully expect to see all the other drivers now pit from the racetrack. They're going to get certainly a big advantage pitting under the full course caution. And those that rolled the dice early hoping to get the undercut are going to be somewhat undone here. So Raider Nicole has come into the pits. He still leads the race. Well,
that
certainly
was a good gamble for him.
Yeah, certainly the timing screen. Matt Roma now comes in. So again, I'd expect all the drivers really down to Scott Wagner to start peeling off. And Scott Wagner will be picking up the pace car, no doubt. Raider Nicole trundles through pit lane. So the order, certainly as it stands in Pro 1500, is Raider Nicole, Matt Roma, Spencer Schmidt. But we've got to wait for the timing screen to sort itself out with these pit stops under the full course caution. Looks to me like we've had possibly a car off in turn one. So the pace car does now have the leader, Scott Wagner, and the pit window is closing. Right, so it's actually turn 6 where we've got the issue. And also another car in the corkscrew. So a number of incidents around the circuit. Safety just rejoining the track in turn 6. And some commotion up at the top of the famous corkscrew. So expect one more lap under safety car conditions. And Chip Roma has got out in front of the safety car. So that gives good news for Chip Roma. Might be able to salvage some kind of position here. So the timing screen still showing Raider Nicole in the lead. Scott Wagner certainly in the lead of the Platinum class. Louis Schreiber sits second. So once again, the JBR Racing pair of Scott Wagner, Louis Schreiber duking it out for the lead in the Platinum class. Yesterday, it was Louis Schreiber who managed to get on top. And it would appear in this chaos that the 93 of Raider Nicole has managed to get a lap on the field. So I believe the pace car is just going to try and reset the order with the 93. Will have to fall off the back of the pack. But in any event, with 12 minutes remaining on the clock, there is certainly an opportunity for some good battles in all three classes. Matt Roma finds himself back in the pointy end of Pro 1500. Spencer Schmidt hoping for another podium as well. Jack Yang, Chris Hunn, line astern, running 8th and 9th on the racetrack. That's for gold class honours. Chris McMurray, a bit of a reprieve for him. Valen Venkatesh, Austin Riley, Arul Venkatesh. Between him and Brady Clapham, Mike Darden, still third in Pro 1340. Dermot Ennis relegated to 4th. So, a little bit of an order shuffle now, just to arrange the drivers for this restart. So Raider Nicole has been put up back behind the safety car. So I think it would appear that timing and scoring are going to fix a glitch where Raider Nicole effectively went up a lap on the rest of the field. Scott Wagner now sits second on the order, as shown by the timing screen.
Louis Schreiber's showing third according to the scoring, and Matt Gomer fourth. Second place in 1500, that is Ann Spencer Schmidt, running third in 1500, fifth overall. Third place will be Jenks, the platinum car. But Raider Nicole is out front again. The only problem is he's on a pace car lap, so everybody is climbing right behind them, and they'll have a good head of steam coming after him at this point. So any of the goodies he built up is pretty much evaporated. So whilst we've got this reprieve underneath the safety car, worth looking at the rear wings. You'll see the battles. The red on the rear wing indicating Pro 1500, the Dayglow yellow indicating Platinum, and Dayglow green indicating Pro 1340. So the safety car is going to peel off. Timing and scoring has reset things, so they're all on 17 laps. Raider Nicole is in the lead, as he was some 32 minutes ago. Again, we expect him to get swamped as he starts this one. But there's been a disastrous start for Scott Wagner. Wasn't in the right gear. Now he gets going. This will give Louis Schreiber a great opportunity down into turn two. Schreiber tries to go around the outside of his teammate. Raider Nicole slots into third and gets them both on the inside. Unbelievable stuff from Raider Nicole, who's now fighting for first outright again, just like yesterday. And further back, it would appear that everyone has got through the turn two, turn three melee cleanly this time.
Miraculously. I didn't think that was going to happen. They were hitting dirt all over the place, and it was definitely a slugfest. This is no longer a car race. This is somewhat of a brawl out there on wheels.
Absolutely. And Scott Wagner, who was trying his best to keep Louis Schreiber at bay, I fear hasn't managed to keep him at bay. We're just waiting to see who comes around in first place in the Platinum class. Meanwhile, Chris McMurray with plenty of cars ahead. Someone dropping wide just off turn 6. And through the penultimate corner, it's another good battle here as Raider Nicole is in the lead of this motor race. So as they come down the front straight, Raider Nicole will find Scott Wagner, who has managed to maintain second place all over the back of him. Now getting in the fight too, it looks to me like John Field is in the mix trying to unlap himself. Field carving his way through, sits third in that line of cars, but he's not on the lead lap. He's showing down in 23rd position, but nevertheless, Field pushing hard to unlap himself and somehow get back up the front. Of course, I guess if we got a green-white checker, another full-course caution, it might give Field that opportunity.
That is going to be tough with just a little over 6 minutes to go in this race.
So could Scott Wagner be the latest name to add himself to the record books? Scott Wagner yet to get a win in the Radical Cup North America Series, the Platinum class. Scott Wagner has come on leaps and bounds, and the 8 machines back ahead of Raider Nicole. And unlike yesterday, we're seeing a Platinum class car rightfully, in effect, be in the lead of this race. You can see the 430 brake horsepower streak down the front stretch and into turn 2. Now we're going to see Raider Nicole with plenty of pace around the corners and in this through this second sector. And there's been 2 cars off in turn 2. So 1 remaining. We're just trying to pick up who that is. But a car stranded in turn 2 with 5 minutes on the clock. And what has happened to, well, so we're just finding ourselves a little bit lost with the timing. There we are. It's just trickling through now. So Scott Wagner with Raider Nicole behind him. Chris McMurray is still ahead of Brady Clapham in the Pro 1340 class. Austin Riley is acting effectively as a rear gunner for Chris McMurray. An out-of-class car, Austin Riley, relegated to 6th position in class. And there is a full course caution out for this car that is stranded in turn 2. So just like yesterday, we could see a green-white checker. Scott Wagner maybe with some sigh of relief, because at least the Pro 1500 of Raider Nicole between himself and Louis Schreiber, Steve Jenks. The WeatherTech Raceway crews have been exceptionally strong, quick at getting cars extracted off the racing surface. And with 3.5 minutes remaining, still time to get a little bit more Radical Cup action underway.
Oh, yeah, that'll just tighten up a little bit. We'll have a definite sprint for that last lap, possibly two. But I tell you, you guys have done Radical Cup 3 races in one weekend. I think you guys and probably the safety crew have worked harder than anybody else out here.
It's certainly been a fun weekend of racing for the Radical Cup at Laguna Seca. As you say, plenty of action. Yesterday's race, almost one of the best of the year, certainly of the weekend, right up there with the IndyCar action.
A barn burner, without a doubt. That was fantastic. Fantastic end.
And I think we're going to see a fantastic run to the finish on this one as well. After 38 minutes of racing, it's going to come down to a green and white checker perhaps. So the safety car will come in at this time. They might get 2 laps. We'll wait and see. Scott Wagner's going to lead the field around. Of course, they've been throwing the green extremely early, and we might see some action in that final corner, because the green flag is out. Racing commences all around the racetrack, and we do see a pass further back in the field. Meanwhile, John Field will try and unlap himself. This is not for the lead in the Platinum class. In fact, Scott Wagner can just take it easy, but I don't think they will. John Field nearly touches, and there's a huge bit of damage on the back of Mike Darden's car. Bodywork rubbing on the Crown Concepts Mike Darden 69 entry. So the red car out near the front of the field, not in the race in terms of the lead lap and for the win. It's Scott Wagner in the number 8 who is trying to win this motor race. The 1-1-1 of Louis Schreiber, and we've got a car stopped just before the start-finish line. So there's going to be certainly a local yellow, but a car stationary. It's backwards at the exit of the final corner. Meanwhile, Scott Wagner continues to race, and it appears that Wagner's now tumbled down the order. So who will come through? And they have got that car going again. So good news here. Coming around to come to the white flag. So one more lap. We're waiting to see who it is, and it's Louis Schreiber, who could take 2 wins from 3 starts here. So again, chaos up the front with Scott Wagner tumbling down. He now runs 3rd. Unbelievably, Wayne Williams, who has really featured nowhere in this race, is now 2nd in the Platinum class. Meanwhile, Matt Roma finds himself 2nd in Pro 1500 with Raider Nicole just ahead. Jack Yang, a good couple of restarts for him. He's 7th on the racetrack, leads the gold class, and Chris McMurray looks to like he'll take 3 wins from 3 starts here this weekend. So this is the final tour of this famous circuit. The cars climb the hill towards that most famous of all complexes, the corkscrew here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. And we'll wait and see who will greet the checkered flag first. It should be the 1-1-1 of Louis Schreiber for JBR Racing. That'd be a tremendous result for him. So John Field starts his final lap. Meanwhile, it is Louis Schreiber who's taken the win. Rayden Nicole, the winner of Pro 1500. Wayne Williams, 2nd in the Platinum class. Matt Roma, 2nd in Pro 1500. Scott Wagner, after leading a fair chunk of that motor race, salvages 3rd place. And Spencer Schmidt, once again on the podium here at Laguna Seca in front of his home crowd. The 99, that's a good one for him. Chris McMurray comes home to take another win in Pro 1340. Plenty of points for Brady Clapham. And it looks like Mike Darden is on the podium for Pro 1340.
You know, by and large, there was not much attrition in this field compared to the other races that ran today. It's been a pleasure watching this. I love watching the 3 classes within one race. Very exciting finish yesterday. 3 races, that's a lot of activity and a lot of consistency at these guys. If they want to win a championship, a weekend like this is having a successful weekend is everything. So yeah, that was wonderful. Tom Drewer, thank you so much for enlightening me onto the Radical Cup in North America. It was fun to watch, and yeah, look forward to the next time.
Well, we said the race 3 pit stop would throw the cat amongst the pigeons. It certainly did that. A couple of full course caution periods as well. But as you mentioned, some fantastic racing this weekend from Radical Cup. And we always enjoy coming out here in the sunshine and all the conditions we've had this weekend. Laguna Seca certainly puts on a show. Thank you to all the race fans for sticking around. We'll be down celebrating the top 3 of each class on the podium one final time. And then it's off to Road Atlanta. and then Lime Rock before the World Finals at VIR. Plenty of action this year still to come from the Radical Cup North America Series.
Outstanding and storied venues, to say the least, that you'll be at. Also, we'd like to give a big shout out to the Porsche Sprint Challenge USA West. I wanted to thank, although they're not here, Tom Peake and Tommy Atterbury for joining me in the booth with that. The people at Fox Sports, everybody here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca who works and makes this event happen. Thank you so much. The Friends of Laguna and the management, thank everybody for being here for the Java House Grand Prix of Monterey. We will see you in a couple weeks where we will have the pre-reunion. That's the 9th and 10th of August. We'll feature the Corkscrew Hill Climb at the end of 2 days of racing. Bring your cars, run it up the hill. And then August 13th through 16th, the Rolex Monterey Motorsports Reunion. There is no finer place to be for vintage race cars and sports cars of all types. They're going to be featuring the Trans Am as well as the IROC. And you'll see a lot of just some of the historical cars that you can only see in museums. They'll be rolling here. You can get up close and personal with them. We always look forward to that. September 12th through 14th will be the Ferrari Challenge. September 26th through 28th, a Grid Live. Don't forget, folks, log on to the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca website. You can find out all the casual things that are going on